Mic test one, two. And just like that, we are live. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the first. Do I call these things episodes or do I call them editions or like, oh, I'm hearing myself. So do I call them editions, episodes, or sessions? I think I prefer session. Welcome to the first session of the year for the Samo Kokomo Live experience. Was a much needed break. Super excited to be back. Got a lot of exciting things planned for the year, starting of course, with the first teaching that we're doing today, which is poisons, potions, and progress. But just to give you a sort of overview or some idea of some of the things we're going to be doing this year. Of course, we're going to be doing our regular Sunday meetings like this, and we're going to experiment with some sort of Q&A session that will be in a closed community so that everybody can speak freely, ask questions freely. You know, there's some things that you may not be able to, put testing mic. Thank you. You may not be able to put on a public domain like this, and there's some answers that I'd like to give directly to certain people that I may not be able to give, on a public system like this. But in a closed community like that, I may be able to do that. Then we're going to be doing a couple of, webinars for more specific topics, similar to that one that we did last year that was about how top rated freelancers think. And what else? I have something else I wanted to talk about and now I forgot to. Yeah, I guess those are the two major ones, by the way. So, stay on track with that. And if we're going to be doing those, those Q&A sessions is going to be on the WhatsApp community. So if you're not there, Timmy, Ola, Toby, someone help me post just put it there. I think I'll just pin it if somebody posts it, the invites to the WhatsApp community for anybody that would like to join. Right. So let's get into the meat of today's conversation. As a heads up, this is likely going to be, two sessions, which will be today and next week. By the way, I'm testing out a new mic today. So if you guys can just let me put it in the comments, let me know if, this one is, doing the work well. We noticed that one, the last one I used to use was not very loud. So I'd like you guys' feedback. Anyway, I'll just check out your comments as we go. Let's get started. Right, so today we're talking about poisons, potions, and progress. Now, in case you've been wondering, what is this guy even talking about? Which one is poison? Which one is potion? Are we here to learn alchemy or sorcery, or who are we poisoning? What are we poisoning? Don't worry, just calm down. Wait. People thought I would forget. Our normal ritual, right? This new year, I nearly forgot for the first time. As I always remind you, I think someone is leaving a comment about the sound. Let me quickly check. Way better audio, thank you. As I always remind you, take your pen and paper or a notepad on your phone. Write down 3 things you want to get done this week. Super simple. And why? As I keep hammering it into your mind, because it helps you to take charge of your week. It helps you to track. It helps you to have a target. If you do not have a target, you can't fail, but also you can't succeed. Failure and success is something we're going to discuss later today. So just take note of that. So today, poisons, potions, and progress. Looking fresh, sir. Yes, fresh haircut. Thanks for noticing. Very romantic of you. All right. I've said the topic like 3 times and I'll just stop looking at, okay, last one. I'll just check the comments. Timothy, just leave. Anyway, poisons, potions, and progress. I'm not looking at the comments anymore. We have a hoodlum there that is just disturbing everybody. Poisons, potions, and progress. Right. So why am I doing this? Poisons, potions, and progress is my way of trying to help people out of a trap that I ate myself. I ate in summary, one of my biggest fears, one of the things that I ate the most, or that disgusts me the most, is feeling like I'm living the same year over and over again. And I've lived that life before, and I remember how frustrating it was, right? So this is to show you how to come out of the trap of setting goals, falling behind and then just falling away totally and not being able to track it. Now you may say, Sam, but it's already January 18, right? Why didn't you teach us this in December? Why did you wait till January 18, almost 3 weeks into the new year before teaching this? Because if we're all being honest with ourselves, right? 2 reasons, right? We're all being honest with ourselves. Around this time is when the desire starts to fade, all those things that you've planned to do, your new year resolution. Maybe you've been consistent, maybe you've, fallen back a little. If anything, this session is to help you to recalibrate, and this session is to help you to get the juices, get a little bit of a nudge, because everybody's now starting to forget about anything like goals and whatnot. So this is my way of restarting that engine for you, right? And then the second reason is the first reason is this is when things start to fade. The second reason why I'm doing this now is because I found that there's something I posted on my WhatsApp status. I think that was 2018, 2017. I don't know if it was 2016 going to 2017 or 2017 going to 2018. I posted it on my status, and a lot of my, my colleagues disagreed with me. But because I have strong head, till today, I still hold that same belief. And that is the fact that January 1st does not have any magical elixir to it. January 1st does not have any magical thing that is going to make you just all of a sudden start acting on the things you say you're going to act. I believe that anybody that is constantly transforming their own lives, that is constantly on the move, is not going to wait till January 1st to start moving on anything, right? Any day is enough to get started on transforming your life. So, if, for instance, if you're here and you don't have goal sets, or you're there, it's kind of blurry, or you're not sure, or whatever, it's okay too, right? It's all good. No issues. Don't start to feel like you're totally behind or whatnot. That is part of the reasons why I'm doing this, right? So who is this for, right? This is for people that, number one, I would say people that have no direction and have no drive. If you don't have any direction or you don't have any drive, I don't think you'll even be here, because people that don't have direction or drive probably do not watch stuff like this. But if you somehow found yourself here, awesome for you. Stick around, watch till the end. I'm pretty sure you catch one of those. And then for people that have drive but have no direction, I mean, you have that desire in you, but you don't know, right, the direction to go. You don't know what next to do. People that have, and then people that have direction but no drive, because no ginger, nothing to do. They know what they want. So hope is just their strategy. They're just hoping things get better. And then you may have direction and drive, but then you lack clarity. Clarity in the sense of, the goals you set, the time you've put, the time, what's it called? The time you're expecting to be met. Does this fit with your life design? Does it, all those kind of things can get a little confusing. By the time we're done with poisons, potions, and progress, I think you will have a better understanding to be able to do these things without much anxiety. Anxiety is not entirely a bad thing, but lingering in anxiety is what is bad. Now, you may say, hey, Sam, why should I even listen to you? What makes you the person that can teach the subject? See, when it comes to the when it comes to the area of like goal setting, goal getting, all of that, I've been doing this for at least 10 years, as far as I can remember. That doesn't mean I've been doing it perfectly for 10 years. It means I've tried and I've failed and I've succeeded and tried and failed and succeeded and tried and failed and succeeded and failed and tried over and over and over again, to the point that I wouldn't say I have everything figured out, but I have enough figured out to at least show a number of people, some insights that may be able to transform how they go about this. And a little bit of a personal story. This one is a bit scary, so if you don't like horror film, leave. Anyway, I can't say I got so good at it, but let me just give you an example of why I take this very seriously. I think it was about a year after my then girlfriend, now wife, and I started dating, and then I showed her a book, right? In that book, I wrote out what I wanted for my life in the next 5 years. I don't think it was 5 years. I think it was just for the near future. I don't remember now, but I knew it had a specific time frame. I wrote it down, and then somewhere in there, I wrote down the kind of lady I wanted to meet and eventually marry. So I told her to read that part, and she was excited and a little shocked at the fact that everything I had described, I had written that maybe 2 years before I met her, I think. Maybe 2 years, maybe a year, I don't remember now. Everything that I had written there was pretty much describing her. So I guess I'm able to teach you the magical part of this. Just joking. It's nothing magical. It is just understanding what you want and being able to, go for it. So this same thing, maybe you that are single Pringle might be what would attract to you the love of your life finally. But that aside, now that we've done all the preambles, let's finally get into it. Right. We're still going to branch somewhere. And this is something super important before I go to the next point. But it still fits with this, right? So someone I respect a lot, he says something. He says that he likes to quote this verse of scripture that says, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And you'll be right to interpret it as life and death is in the power of how you speak, the things you say. Don't say negative things to yourself if you don't want to attract negative things. It's about to get more interesting. So let me sit at the tip or at the edge of my chair. Right, okay, it's just you guys goofing around. Right, so he says, life and death, it's a quote from the Holy Scriptures. He says, life and death is in the power of, the power of life and death is on the tongue, right? Or is that it? Don't let me just say rubbish. Let me just quickly Google it so I can just quote it straight up. Power of life. Yeah, they're probably in a lot of, death and life are in the power of the tongue. I got it right the first time. And you'd be right to translate that, like I said, to, interpret that to, be careful what you say can become what you live and all of that. But if you think about it, anytime anybody's asking you about, what language do you speak? Where are you from? What is your mother tongue, right? Your mother tongue. Because tongue also can mean language, right? And he says, its interpretation that I agree with is that verse of scripture is also saying life and death are in the power of language. Life and death are in the power of your use of language. There's a way intentional people use language, and there's a way most other people use language. Intentional people don't just throw words around anyhow. And intentional people understand what they say, and that's why they can speak intentionally, right? Most of the words we use comes from deduction. Like, I think it's called word inference. You hear a sentence, or you hear something online, or watch something online, or see something online, or watch it in a movie, or watch it anywhere, and then you pick up the meaning from that, and then you sort of understand what it's supposed to be, right? You just deduce that that's what it's supposed to be, and then maybe once in a while you check the dictionary, you check the definition, and you accept what you see there, which is all good, okay and good, except even the dictionaries constantly update the meaning of words based on popular use or popular accepted explanations or definitions, right? So what am I driving at? I'm driving at the fact that you need to investigate what you think you know about the words that you use. For instance, these two words that people like to throw around when it comes to the topic of, setting goals, planning your life, and that is success and failure. Let us talk about success first. If when I mention success, except if you don't want to be honest with yourself, there's a part of you that is automatically thinking about a lot of money. You're thinking about, financial success. You're thinking about material success. And you would not be wrong to think so because that is what we've been programmed to think. That is what has been accepted as success. When you hear he's a successful businessman, it means he's a rich businessman. If you hear he's a successful man, it means he's a rich man. If you hear he's a successful woman, she's a successful woman, it means normally would mean this person is rich, this person has money. But it's not, that is not what the original meaning of the word success was. Now, when you investigate the origin of words, it's not to sound smart or to sound like a pastor or to sound like you're better than anybody. It's just so you understand the original intent or the original meaning of what this thing was supposed to be, so that you don't just accept what everybody else is saying. So success, you're going to have to pardon me because I'm just going to try and pronounce something that I am not trained to pronounce. If you check the etymology of success, success comes from the word succedere, which is a Latin word. And what does that translate to? The Latin word translates to come after or to follow after, right? So what does that tell us? Success is not entirely an outcome, right? Success was, at least from the root word, is not entirely an outcome, right? It is like a direction. This is the direction you're going. You are following after, to come after, to go near. You can check it out. It's the Latin word is succedere, right? So it is not an outcome of making a lot of money or whatnot. It is a direction or a movement towards the right direction, a movement towards a set aim. That is success. Think about it. Think about the fact that most people do not feel that they've seen success until they've gotten to that place that they want to get to. This shows us that success essentially is just direction towards the aim that you're going, right? Now let's talk about failure. Failure as well, checking the etymology, is from a Latin word called fallere. Fallere. You can investigate. So I'm not just making this stuff up, right? And fallere in Old Latin. Oh no. One more thing I wanted to say about success, right? Just one more point. I already talked about the Latin word, and then when it was brought into English, and you may have, if you watch all these old, like old English movies, let's say like all these Pirates of the Caribbeans or whatever, or I don't know, Marilyn, or I don't know, man. Just those kind of movies in those old settings. In Old English, success was not seen as something positive. Success was not positive or negative. It was both. It was seen as an outcome that can be described in both ways. So it's either you have good success or you have bad success. Again, showing that success is not entirely, is still depends on the direction that you're going. It is not entirely just about the outcome. It is not just making a lot of money, making moves, doing stuff that is LinkedIn worthy, right? Now not back to failure, we'll not go back to failure, but back to the word failure, right? Fallere means to trip up, to stumble. Does not mean the end. It does not mean, it is not a person, it's not an identity. Success and failure can become an identity once you accept it to become an identity. But fallere, the root word of failure, means to stumble. What is this telling us altogether? Success is telling us, the root word of success is saying to follow after, to tend towards a direction, right? Failure, the root word of failure, is telling us to stumble. If I'm to define success and failure, I'll just say they are feedback on your journey of progress. If you're succeeding, it means you are tending towards the direction you ought to tend to. If you failed, it means maybe there's a stumbling block, something as you've stumbled, if something made you trip up on the journey. That does not mean that that is the end of the journey, and that does not mean that that is your identity. I don't know if you guys are getting it. Let me check, because I think I'm speaking Latin. I am literally speaking Latin here, right? And this is very critical to everything we're going to be speaking about. It is very critical because I'm going to keep mentioning success, failure, but and I would like us to be on the same bandwidth, on the same frequency, right? I like us to have the same understanding of these things. Success and failure are essentially feedback on your journey towards where you're going to, on your journey of progress, right? I think I've hammered on that long enough. So which takes me to the next thing I wanted to talk about. First of all, what I'm trying to do here, in case you've not caught it, is trying to, I want to say I'm trying to kill some demons. Not sure why that came to my mind. I'm trying to kill certain things I'm trying to help us to relearn certain things that we think we know, all of us put together. And I'm trying. All right. We're right back. Pardon me, not sure what happened. It just tripped up really quickly. Just checking that we're back. Got 7 comments. Is that? Yeah, network. That's what happened. We're back. Where was I? I was talking about, success and failure. Yeah, I was talking about success and failure. And I said success and failure are not necessarily destinations. They're feedback. They're feedback on your journey of progress, or on the spectrum of progress, if you may. Right. You may also have heard, oh, I was talking about, okay, what am I doing? Like, I was trying to explain what I'm doing. Okay, I'm just checking you guys' comments. Looks like you guys can see that we're back. All right. I'm saying I'm trying to help us to relearn certain things that have become an habit, or things that we think we know, or things that we think we know the meaning. Trying to build a foundation to what I'm about to show you. Don't worry, we'll soon bring the poison out. I know that's what you guys are here for: poisons, potions, and progress. Anyway, why is things showing on title? It's not supposed to be showing in title. Pardon me, guys. Just making sure that everything is copacetic. All right. So you may have heard people say something like this, and motivational speakers get a bad rep for this. They say something like, if you can conceive it and you believe it, you can achieve it. Essentially telling you that anything is possible. And people need to hear that. Because what do you mean anything is possible? If anything was that possible, I think we're good. Just double checking, because the internet can be funny. If anything was that possible, why can't I just say I need $1 billion this year and make that $1 billion? Right? I want to make a distinction between two things. possibility and probability, right? Possibility and probability, possibility and probability. So what is possibility? Possibility speaks to, can this thing be done? Possibility speaks to, can this thing be done? Probability speaks to, what are the chances of this thing getting done? What are the chances of this thing being done? Right? You establish possibility by observation, right? What do I mean by that? If I can see it, for instance, where do you get most of your inspiration from? It's from the things you see, right? You see somebody living a certain kind of life, all of a sudden you know that it is possible. Now that it is possible for you to get that thing done by so amount of time, now is a matter of probability. What are the chances of this thing getting done? This is what people mix up that makes them feel some type of way about anything when you hear anything is possible, right? Literally, anything is possible if you can observe the right things and replicate the right things. Except, of course, breaking. I'm not saying do. I don't want to start calling out the obvious, right? Of course, anything is possible. Anything is possible. There's some common sense to it, and that's the probability part. Anything is possible. A man can dive off a 10-story building and live. It is possible. But is the man stupid enough to not do it with a parachute? Is the man trying to do it without a parachute? If that is what he's trying to do, his probability of living is probably 0 or 1 if he's right next to a hospital or something. I don't know. But I hope you get the understanding of what I'm trying to say. It's like, okay, think about, I know this is probably one of the overused stories of inventions. The Wright brothers inventing the airplane. What did they observe? They observed that birds can fly, right? This is like observation, possibility by correspondence, right? You see that this thing is possible because you're wondering if this thing exists in this plane of existence, some certain things can do this, maybe we can bring that idea into this. So they observed flight in birds and then they tried to help man to fly, not by putting wings on man, but by building a machine that can take man on flights. You understand? So if you ask the question then to most people, can men fly? Of course, we're going to sound stupid. Of course, men can fly. But some people were able to think, they entered into the probability plane that, okay, what can we do to make it a strong, to make this thing possible, to increase the chances of this thing being possible? Let me bring it to very simple terms, right? Let's say let's not invent airplanes anymore. Let's just go back to when we were a kid. Imagine that I'm an 8-year-old boy, right? I'm standing in front of this gap. Let's say it's like 5 meters, right? I'm standing in front of it. I feel like standing right now, but someone on my team told me I should not stand when I'm talking. Like, we scatter their editing. Anyway, I'm standing in front of like this 4-meter gap, right? And like young boys like to do, I can do it, I can jump it, I can do it. I know that's some playful example, but walk with me a little bit. Now let's say I try it, I jump, and I do not make it, assuming that it's not something that can injure me. I realize I fall short of the expectations. I should fall short of my goal, right? That is failure. And from our definition of failure, do not forget, that is a feedback. What does that mean? You're probably not big enough, you're not strong enough, or you don't have the tools enough to get you over there, right? So this is where most people stop. This is where most people off their brain. I don't have the skills, I don't have the resources, I don't have the this, I don't have the that, I don't have the that. They never go to the plane of probability. The probability of this thing happening might be slim right now, but what can I do to increase my chances of that thing happening? My dear friends, that is the whole point of the cycle of goal setting. And that is what I'm trying to teach in this series, right? When you're setting a goal, and this is why they say, aim for the stars, aim for this, aim for that, shoot for the biggest thing, right? When you're setting a goal, all you want to establish is that this thing is possible. Anything that you don't think is possible, you honestly cannot do. Establish that this thing is possible, not entirely relating it to, not yet having the responsibility of if it is possible for you based on where you are right now, what you have right now, is not supposed to be established at the point of you writing down that, don't let me call it a goal, writing down that vision. Is why they'll say, get started. The why is not your responsibility. The how is not your responsibility. Sometimes it is a lack of understanding just means you've not comprehended the perspective. It's not an insult. I don't have understanding about a lot of things. Sometimes it's lack of understanding, and also, taking people taking bits of certain things that makes people feel some type of a way about what they hear. Is it possible that I make $1 billion? Now I'm calling it to myself. It is possible if, probability side, I can build a mechanism, a system, a business, a this, a that, a whatever, that will make that a possibility for me. That is the probability. Let me call it out as it is for you. At the point of goal setting, all you're establishing is possibility. At the point of goal getting, what you're establishing or what you're doing is increasing the probability of that thing happening. I'll say it again. At the point of goal setting, the only thing you want to establish is possibility, right? Can this thing be done? That is goal setting. The process of goal getting, which means to reach that thing, is you increasing the probability of that thing happening. So let's go back to the simple example of the boy. So the boy is standing in front of this 5-meter gap. He's too small. He's not strong enough. He doesn't have the resources, right? Now the boy says, you know what? It probably take a couple of years for me to do this. I'm going to go into it. Maybe I can speed things up. Maybe I can start training my legs. I start learning, increasing my jump power. I start watching people that are doing like long jump. Sometimes the boy goes back, he tries it, he falls short, then he goes back. Time is passing, and I'm using a very simple example here. So work with me. The boy is not going to sit at the junction of that goal, of that hole, just looking at it like, I can't do this, and hope that one day something is going to change. The only way that is going to happen is if the boy is doing other things that increases the probability of him being able to do it. So maybe he spends some time at the gym or carrying whatever, or practicing the jumps. This means that sometimes what you misconstrue or what you misinterpret as failure, or what feels like failure, is actually you taking a detour to prepare yourself to be able to come back and face, or to grow into the strength, the understanding, the perspective for you to be able to actually get that thing done. For you to be able to step to the level that you're able to get that thing done. Or maybe the boy says, you know what? The point is to get from point A to point B, right? Maybe I don't have to wait till my legs are strong enough. Maybe I should go and watch those guys that are doing pole vaults and learn how to use a pole to make this jump. Which means a new perspective, new understanding about the same goal. I know I'm using a very simple example, but I'm only using it because I want you guys to I want it to be so simple that the metaphor carries into any aspect that you want to apply it, right? I'm going to say it again for the sake of emphasis, and because this is super important. At the point of goal setting, all your focus, all your thoughts, everything you want to focus on, everything you want to establish is possibility. Can this thing be done? Sometimes you have that nudging in your heart that this thing can be done, but you don't see it yet. Spend time looking for things that helps you to establish that possibility. I have a very stubborn way of doing that. And my very stubborn way of doing that is if I can find one person that has done this before, a little extra point if the person has one thing similar to me. If I can find one person that has done it before, I think it's possible. Now, I might not look like it right now. I might not man, I don't know if you're getting this. What I'm trying to get you here is, I'm not trying to motivate you. I'm trying to give you a new perspective. I'm not trying to get you to tomorrow. Just say, yeah, I joined this live yesterday, said anything is possible. I'm trying to give you the legs to walk this walk. Establish possibility, then go to work on increasing the probability that that thing can be done. Now, here's the thing. Oh, and I forgot to ask you guys this thing, but I'll still ask. Here's the thing. No, I've forgotten the thing. So I was saying increase possibility, increase probability. So the question I wanted to ask is, and this is a personal experience. Yeah, now I remember the thing. The thing is that sometimes while you're trying to grow into the person that can actually get that thing done, it's not going to look like it. Let me just ask the questions because I don't want to forget. A personal example. Back in 2023, January 2023 to be precise, I set a goal, a financial goal, an amount I want to be making per month. And I didn't just set it for myself, I set it for a couple of my friends that I knew that were just as hungry as me. I made it into a frame. I'm throwing it out now so I can't show you. Matter of fact, I don't think I've shown you. I made it into a frame and I posted it on my wall, right? And I sent it to my friends to post it on your wall. We all had the same goal. I didn't reach that goal. I didn't reach that target. Remember I said I set it January 2023? I didn't reach that target until October 2025. Question for you guys. Did I succeed or did I fail? Did I succeed or did I fail? Put it in the comments. Do you think I succeeded or do you think I failed? I set a goal 2023, January. I did not reach it till December 2025, October 2025. Did I fail? Is there something going on with the power? I think that's what is cutting out the network. Maybe the router is not coming up quickly enough. I think the power is going on enough. Anyway, while you answer that, I'll just take a few steps further. It's like the point of view. Remember how we defined success and failure as just feedback on your journey of progress. What that means is when you set a big enough goal, there are going to be multiple failures in the journey of reaching that goal, but there are also going to be multiple successes on the journey of reaching that goal. I did not reach. I succeeded. Thank you. I would say so, and let me tell you why I would say so. I did not reach that goal until October 2025, but every year since 2023, the least that my income, either personally or my agency, has increased is by double. So will I now say, because I set the goal for 2023 and I did not reach it in 2023, I failed? Now, if I was adopting that general definition of failure that most people adopt, I did fail. But if you adopt the definition of failure as just a feedback, right, I made this target. I tried to increase my probability of it getting done, but I didn't get it done. Why wasn't it done? Let me tell you one thing. Towards the end of 2023, I got very close to reaching that goal. But I got so close that I knew that if I got to the goal and I continued, I can die. Because I was working way too hard to reach it. Like I literally could have died because I was working like crazy. I'm up 5 a.m. Sometimes I'm working till like 7 p.m. That's like 14 hours. So for me to be able to say I'm successful, I want to kill myself. Nah, bro. I have I have a full life ahead of me. So you see how adopting that definition of success and failure that most people have can actually push you to, it can push you to have targets and push yourself to an outcome that at the end of the day is detrimental to you, just so you can say you have that outcome. Right, and this is where we're going to round up today, right? Because I want to take this, super slow and super step by step. But I'll give you a prelude. Is it prelude or a preview of what we're going to be discussing next week? Next week we're going to be talking about the 3 types of goals, and the reason is because part of the reasons why people fall for the trap of setting goals every year and missing it is because they don't understand that there are different types of goals that you place in different parts, like with different time frames. You can already go and Google it. This is something that I'm just going to explain from my perspective. It's something that, somebody that is older and smarter than probably all of us here, popularized by Bob Proctor, I think. It's type A goals, type B goals, and type C goals. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to layer it on top of a medical principle that I think that everybody that is trying to transform their lives through goal setting should adopt. And that is where the poisons and potions will come in, just giving you the preview. I think you should adopt that principle. And it's a principle that I didn't even know I was adopting, right? Until it now clicked, like, oh, this is what I was doing, and this is what I was doing when I got it right. Right? So it is also going to help you to make sense of the whole idea of success and failure, setting super high goals, and knowing just what to do each time, the goals you need to focus on per time, the goals that you're just setting just to make it, there are some things, and I did it too. There are some goals you just set just to say, it's like, okay, the guy has outgrown it, so I can make jokes about it now. I remember my friend and I organized a webinar many years ago. And there was this guy, I think he just finished secondary school. I don't know the motivational speaker I went to listen to. He never do business before, he never do anything before. The guy said he wants to be selling a helicopter. The guy said he wants to be selling a helicopter and everything. He used to post it on his WhatsApp status. And he was asking us for advice. Me at that time, I could not sell car set. You want to ask me for it? I don't know how to sell a helicopter. Anyway, so is it possible that this guy ends up owning a fleet of helicopters? Yeah, it's possible he does. Is it possible that he becomes an helicopter salesman and he has like a fleet of helicopters that he's selling? Yes, it's possible. But what is the probability that happens now? Now, maybe, here's the thing, times have changed. This was pre how technology makes that probability. I think you understand what I'm saying here, right? I'm just going to check the comments. Yeah, you're probably laughing at the helicopter thing. Yeah, the guy said he wanted to sell a helicopter. I tire myself. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining another session, episode of the Samuel Kukumo Live Experience. Super excited for everything that we're going to be doing. If you joined late, I made some announcements at the beginning. We're going to be doing in-house on the community. Let me just copy the link. In-house in the community Q&A sessions where you'll be able to ask me, sorry, I just want to grab the link. Where you'll be able to add, okay, I can't grab the link from here. Let me just grab it on my phone. Where you'll be able to ask me, questions. And beyond that, we can even chat, chats that may be off topic and whatnot. Pardon me, just give me a quick second to pin. What I want to do right now is I want to copy the link and post it on this live video so that you guys can join the WhatsApp community if you so please. 1 second, I will paste it, then I will pin it. Okay, there you go. So it's pinned up there. If you'd like to be a part of, those live Q&As on the WhatsApp community, please join in. And you can have interesting conversations there. Catch you next week on the next edition of this. Super excited to, to have shared the last 45 minutes with you guys. Oh, I guess I said I forgot uh, one announcement at the beginning. I'm going to be keeping this super short, 30 to 45 minutes. So it's super easy for you to come back and consume, watch and watch all over again if you missed anything, and compile your questions for the Q&A sessions. Thanks a lot, guys. Catch you in the next ones.